Hi, everybody. Welcome to this brand new episode of Nick Speaks, the podcast dedicated to giving the disabled community a voice, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. You guys, I say that mantra at the beginning and at the end of every podcast because I really want this to be a place where people with disabilities, whether you're a professional or whether you are a person with a disability receiving services, can really speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to them, whether it be home health care or how they get treated by their doctors or how they get treated by their waiver coordinators. I want this to really be a place where they can bring their issues and shed light on what goes on in the disabled world. So, just a little background as to why I have came up with that mantra: speak up, speak out, and speak loud. And today I'm going to be speaking very loud about an issue, and that is having issues finding employment for disabled people like myself. Um, in fact, the reason I started this podcast is because, very simply, I was told by two states and three different counties that they couldn't find work for me to do simply because of my physical disability. Now, I've known since the age of 18 that I've wanted to do something in media. And when I contacted my first VR vocational rehabilitation place, we were originally thinking about areas in customer service, but I told them what the really big picture is. And, they were just like, well, because you can't, physically get out, we don't have transportation for you that much. And basically saying it's going to be really hard for you to find employment because of your disability, because I have to wear briefs and all that type of stuff. And there's not going to be a boss that is going to be like, sure, we'll set up an adult changing table. We'll have a Hoyer lift for you so you can get changed and taken care of. Now, maybe things are changing in the world of employment with disabilities, but I've been told several different times, like I said at the beginning, that I'm unemployable because of my disability. And I really think that it's because vocational rehabilitation places around the country are not willing to look outside of their cookie cutter baskets, if you will. If you don't fit into the shape of what they want you to fit in, you're just not a part of the program. And we really have to get to a place in this country where people with disabilities can have a job no matter what, whether they get paid a decent wage at a sheltered workshop, maybe them working in an environment with other people um, who work that don't have disabilities isn't the best thing for them. Maybe they do need to work in a sheltered workshop. I'm not against that. But what I'm saying is we have to come to a point where people with disabilities aren't shoved off to the side as far as working is concerned because they're not willing to fit in vocational rehabilitation's cookie cutter that they has worked for 10,000 other people. Because what has worked for 10,000 other people, and I'm just throwing that number out there, may not work for 10 other people, and they may want to do something that is outside of the box. And I think that is a major problem today for a lot of agencies who provide waiver services and vocational rehabilitation services is they have been doing something the same way for 40 years And for them to look outside the box and say, hey, maybe we should do this instead, it's wrecking their whole world. When at the meantime, people like myself are forced to carve our own path because people who have done things for 40 years the same way aren't willing to take off their very narrow glasses and expand their thought process, if you please. I remember back in 2021, I reopened a case with OOD, which is Ohioans for Opportunities with Disabilities. That's what we call it here, our voc rehab. And I went through the same rigmarole. I went through a 6 hour test. Could you put these little tiny pegs that are as big as a grain of rice in these peg holes in a certain amount of time? Can you take your foot and move it around this pedal and move the arrow around up there on that big computer screen? Well, if you can't do that, then I'm sorry, you're not employable, and I can't see from looking at you in the world of work what you would be able to offer an employer. That's what I was told. That's what I was told was by the lady that did this assessment, which they were contracted with Voc Rehab here in the state of where I live to find out what I can do. And I had already told them, well, I want to do public speaking. I want to do something in media. I want to have my own television radio show. And so they already knew that. So, me personally, I don't understand why my branch of voc rehab, known as Ohioans for Opportunities with Disabilities, wasted their time doing these 6 hour tests when I wasn't going to be doing anything for what they were testing me for. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So, it's been really heart-wrenching because I want to be a contributing taxpayer to society. Now, I know a lot of you are like, why? I don't want to pay taxes. I I don't want to do that. Well, again, I understand that, and we all feel that the government has obsessive overreach and all that stuff, and people are taxed too much already. But in a way, I feel like this is something that Americans who don't have a disability take for granted that they're able to go to work every day and have a job and provide for their family. Yes, paying taxes is a pain in the butt, but you know what? It's a law of the land. And it's the law of the land that I wish I could have. Now, for those of you that are out there saying, Nick, why don't you be a Walmart greeter? First of all, Walmart doesn't really have any greeters anymore. They have those people that, check your receipt these days to make sure you're not stealing anything. I don't see much of a Walmart greeter anymore. I I don't think very many stores, Walmart included, really care whether or not if somebody says, "Hi, welcome to the establishment. We're so happy to have you today." I don't think many businesses care about having greeters these days. Number two, I really hate that is where everybody goes with a person with a disability. It seems like. I don't know. Maybe I'm just lumping everybody into one category. I don't want to do that. But every time I talk to someone about getting a job, one of the first things they say to me is, why don't you be a greener? Do you really think that that is all I'm worth? Do you really think that all I can do is say, hi, welcome to our establishment today. I'm so glad you're here. Do you think that's all I can contribute? No, I can do so much more. I can schedule appointments. I can answer the phone. If we can figure out a way, um, for me to do computer work. I would have loved to done that. But no, Voc Rehab wasted their time and said, let's put you through all these tests. And what they said was at the end of all these tests, in so many words, is Nick, because you don't want to fit in our cookie cutter, we're going to deem you unemployable because of your disabilities. Now, one Voc Rehab in a different state got upset with me and my family because um, we were coming down to the end of our timeline to find a job, and we weren't finding anything. I interviewed with a couple companies. Actually, I think I just interviewed with one. I interviewed with one company and I said, well, in order to work for you, I would need to use a screen reader. And they said, well, because you need to use a screen reader, we won't be able to hire you for that. I don't remember the name of the company. I don't remember what they were planning on doing, but that's what they had said to me. That because I need to use a screen reader because I'm legally blind, that they wouldn't be able to hire me for that. So then my family member said, well, I have a job in network marketing. And as you know, with a lot of network marketing, it's building your team, it's a pyramid scheme. I hate network marketing. Now, if you guys are in network marketing and it does well for you, praise God. I'm glad it does well for you and I'm glad you're able to feed your family. I personally don't like it because it involves getting your personal friends and family involved, and then your personal friends and family want to avoid you at every function possible because all you want to talk about is your network marketing scheme. So I don't personally like that. I don't want my friends and family avoiding me because of what I do for a living. Um, but needless to say, back then, I was at a point where I would do anything. So my family member was like, "Hey, Nick, just sign up under my company and we'll get you a job. We'll put you to work, blah, blah, blah." Well, that didn't really work out either because I needed some more help than what we thought. And so the Voc Rehab that we were working with at the time, when we said, hey, we still need to have this case open. We need to go back to the drawing board. They thought I misrepresented what I was trying to do with my brother, when in actuality, I was just trying to figure this out and have a job so I can contribute to my community. So bring it back up to speed to now. So now we are trying the self-employment chapter of vocational rehabilitation. And there was a lot of things. I worked with a company in the state of which I live now to draw up a business plan. They drew up a business plan without me and said, do it yourself. And that did not roll over very well with me. I said roll over, I meant go over, but you know what I mean. Hey, if you have a dog, I can say roll over again, and maybe they'll roll over. Hey, roll over, doggy. Did they do it? Let me know in the comments. Um, so, when this company that I was working with in the state of Ohio said, um, basically figure it out and draw it up yourself, that didn't really go over well. I tried some other things. And then what we found was something called career discovery, where you get a case manager assigned to you and they interview you and they figure out what you're interested in doing. And then they try to find people in those fields that you can interview to try to help you figure out how you can get into those fields. And when we interviewed people, everybody said, Nick, you need to do podcasting. You need to do podcasting. You need to do podcasting, which people have told me that for years. And I just didn't know how to get into it. And then I met my wonderful producer Kyle Goodnight, who produces Nick Speaks and several other podcasts. Um, and he has just been wonderful to me. And so now I'm doing podcasts and I'm working on expanding my public speaking career. And that's why I'm here. I want to encourage you guys to go out there and carve your own path because you know what? These government agencies don't care about you. They're more concerned about making a quick buck. And I know there might be some that disagree with me out there when I say that, but it's true because I've had to work really, really hard to get where I am now as far as doing the podcasting and all that stuff. And if these states are going to say, like the state of Ohio, where I am at, we're an equal opportunity employer, well, you're going to have to do better than the cookie cutter program that you've been used to for the last 50 years because it doesn't work for everybody. Think outside the box, states. Think outside the box because people with disabilities don't want to be limited to just $943 a month and barely making it on food stamps. I have bigger dreams for myself. People with disabilities have bigger dreams for ourselves. We don't want to be stuck in the land of poverty forever. I refuse to be stuck in the land of poverty forever. I will get off the government system probably within the next 3 years. I hope so. I'm going to do my dangness to try to do it, and I will do it. Everybody around me said I wouldn't move out. I wouldn't have a romantic relationship. I wouldn't get married. I wouldn't be able to live on my own. I said that already, but I wouldn't be able to play the piano. Everybody around me has said that I would not be able to do the things that I'm doing right now. And now my next goal is making sure that I'm off the government system within the next few years. And for those of you that are out there saying, well, you want too much, you could just go be a greeter or go do. No, I dream. I dream big. And one of the things that Oprah Winfrey has taught me, I know a lot of people don't like Oprah, but one of the things that she has taught me, one of the statements that she always makes is that God can dream a bigger dream. You know what? I'm going to change that a little bit. God has dreamed a bigger dream. And it's not for me to depend on the government for the rest of my life. It's not for me to sit at a regular 9 to 5 job. Now, if there was a regular 9 to 5 job that would take me and I had a wonderful boss, I would be thrilled to do it. But there's not too many employers that are willing to hire people like me that are willing to think outside of the box. And let me tell you, employer, something. You're missing out on some hard-working people because you have people with disabilities that'll be your best salesman, that'll get up and want to work, and they won't want to go home. I know I would be one of those people. So if you know anyone that's in voc rehab or that's into hiring people with, disabilities, have them listen to this podcast. Have them listen to my story because I am employable. I like to say all the time, I'm physically disabled but mentally enabled. Don't allow someone's disability potentially keep you from hiring one of the best employees you could ever have. Because I'm telling you, some employers out here, you're making a mistake by not hiring people with disabilities just because it's going to take a little bit more effort and just because you can't throw us into a job after 3 weeks of training and say, good, go do it yourself. No, we may need a month or two of help, or maybe 3, but employers have to be willing to take that risk. And I'm telling you, once you take that risk, of hiring someone with disabilities, I don't think you'll be sorry. They might boost your morale at your whole company. They could be the best salesman you ever have. And if they end up being a greeter at your company, I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, think outside the box. That's all I'm saying. So with all this in mind, this is the reason I started my podcast. My podcast producer Kyle has always been like, get your ideal client on your podcast, get to know them so you can get paid speaking engagements. And that is one of the reasons why I'm here, is because I do want to get paid speaking engagements. I do want to get sponsorships. I am employable. I am reliable. And if you're a public speaker and you want to come on my podcast and share your story, I would love to. And I would also love to collaborate with you to see what paid public speaking I can do. Because I've done a lot of public speaking for free and I've got a couple stipends in the past. But I believe what I bring to the table in my story could change somebody's life. And, all these people out here are saying I'm not employable. Well, guess what? I grew a TikTok following from nothing to over 67,000 followers in a matter of a year. And I've been on TikTok for almost 4. So I just want to encourage employers. Think outside the box and don't miss a great opportunity just because you're afraid of a little extra work that you're going to have to do if you hire somebody with a disability. I hope this encourages someone out there today. Remember, if you want to have me come speak at your engagement, or you would like me to be a guest on your podcast, or you would like to be a guest on mine, you can email me at nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com. I said it wrong. nickspeaksofficial@gmail.com is my email where you can contact me. You can also contact me down in the comments and I'll shoot you my email, and then you can shoot me an email back and we'll set up a meeting, and hopefully we can do some great collaborations. And really, the states need to come together and start thinking outside the box so that everyone can have a chance at the American dream, no matter if they have a disability or not. Thanks again for listening to the Nick Speaks podcast, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.